All right, welcome. This is episode 1 of Lost Arguments. It is March the 21st, 2022. My name is Steven. My gaming handle is Cyrus or Cyrus the Great. And I am joined by my co host, Ton. Ton, do you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Sure. My name is Ton. I go by Kilma on most things. I'm Corey87 on Twitch though, if you want to check it out. But yeah,
Absolutely. All right, so to get this thing started, let's do a quick little background here. What MMOs and isometric type games like Diablo, Path of Exile, stuff like that have you played coming into Lost Ark?
I think I played every one you can think of. I played Diablo, original Diablo, Diablo 2, Diablo 3.
Yeah.
I played the Diablo 2 remaster a couple months ago, back in September when it came out. I played Path of Exile. I've played. What other ones are there? Now
There's
that
like Hellgate London and there's what are the ones I've seen like Kriparian play like a whole bunch of those isometric games.
I
Um,
played a lot.
but
I'm
yeah,
gonna go
I've
with
played a
that.
lot too. So and
As
then
for MMOs, I
MMOs.
played FF11. That was my first MMO.
Yeah,
And then I switched over to Fort. I played a little bit of Star Wars: The Old Republic. Well, not a lot, not a little. I played like a year, and then I
that's a lot.
played Final Fantasy 14. Yeah,
And you still play Final Fantasy 14, right? You're like
I
doing
still
end
do.
game rating and stuff.
I have cleared the tier, pugging it, and then I just joined an Ultimate group that will attempt to do Ultimate.
Awesome. All right, so I have played. As far as the isometric games, I also played the original Diablo way back in the day, back when you could dupe the item. You remember you'd like walk to it with a
Yeah,
potion,
yeah, and
and
then you
right as
approach,
you
you
got to
click,
it, you'd right click it
click
and
it,
drop it. Yeah,
and
yeah.
you do all the elixirs to get strength stuff.
Yes. Yep. So
You
I
can do
played.
gold too. It was hilarious.
I played OG original Diablo 1, played Diablo 2 like tons. I mean, I was one of those guys, played tons of Diablo 2, played a bunch of Diablo 3, hated it, played Reaper of Souls, loved it. Got burned out
Yep.
on that. I never played PoE. I never really played any other isometric games, to be perfectly honest with you. But MMOs, I'm like a classic MMO fiend too. Final Fantasy 11 was also my first MMO. And then I played a lot of World of Warcraft for like 3 or 4 years, like hardcore bleeding edge rating content kind of playing. And then played a little bit of Final Fantasy 14 last year with you. But the one that I played the most is actually a another Korean MMO, which
Yep.
might be relevant
Wow.
in some of the Lost Ark discussions moving forward. But I played Dungeon Fighter Online and the Korean Dungeon and Fighter for about 10 years. I played the Korean
Years.
client for about 2 years when the original DFO went offline when Nexon was publishing it. And then there was no global DFO, and I played the Korean version for like 2 years. And then Neopal, who actually develops the game, they self-published the game in NA and global, and I played that after too. So I played tons of DFO, and then yeah, played Final Fantasy 14 last year with you actually on your recommendation. Got me into it, really enjoyed it, and then Lost Ark came out, and man, that's all I've been playing since basically release day. Um, Now, to give a little background here before we give kind of our review of the game, I do want to say you and I have both played. Um, a lot would be an understatement. I mean, we've both gone pretty hard into this game. Both of
Yep.
us are now
You a
T3.
little bit. You more than me.
Yeah, because I played all the alts too, but and you played Elden Ring too a bunch,
I played a lot of Elden
but
Ring.
we have
Lots.
both, as of this recording, we are both over 1370 gear score, have cleared the first phase of Argos and all content before that, including Areha hard modes. Like we've done all the Guardian raids. Like you and I both are, we're pretty much almost caught up with all the content that's available in the game. So
Yep.
we've definitely put in the hours. We've both definitely seen basically what there is to see in Lost Ark and have experienced Lost Ark.
And are you completely free to play, or did you
So I have
spend some
purchased
money?
I purchased the Platinum Founders Edition, mostly to get the 3 day head start, but also to get the Platinum the Founder skins. But I have put no money into the game outside of the Platinum pack, so I am completely free to play outside the Platinum pack. And the reason is because I wailed in DFO and decided that I could never do that again. So
Yeah, I've spent a little bit of money.
yeah,
Not a
yeah.
little bit, a lot. Oh,
All right,
not
we'll
like
get in
mega
we'll
whale
get into
money.
that later because I do want to talk about that later. But the first thing I want to talk about is What is your overall review of Lost Ark? The game's been out for 40, I think about 40 days now. Like, what do you think
Has
of
it
the
been that
game
long?
as a whole, and what are your like kind of biggest pluses for the game as a whole, and kind of your biggest gripes?
As a whole, I like the game. It's fun to play. The battle system is really good. The story is it's okay.
It's a
I
story.
mean, it's a story. I know people give a shit, but I think it's okay. It's not the worst. I know a lot of people skip it for some reason, but I always play for games for story anyway. Um, like I said, I like the gameplay. I love the gameplay. The fights are fun. They're kind of easy right now.
Mm.
Hopefully that change with the Abyss region raids. Hopefully, because nothing in this game feels hard right now.
Yeah, I agree.
I hate the upgrade system. Like with a burning passion, I failed so
Yeah,
many upgrades.
yeah,
And that's where the whaling came in because I was just frustrated, so I spent money and then it failed some more. But I
yeah,
finally hit 1370 and
yeah.
I've stopped spending.
Okay. I will echo your statement. Kind of my review of the game as a whole is, again, coming in. I had actually pretty high expectations for this game coming in, especially after playing Final Fantasy 14 recently and going through all the story and just loving the story basically in that game. The story in this game is it's a story, but it's not so bad that it like made me want to just skip through everything. You know what I mean? Like I went
Yes, yeah.
through and actually as the story goes on, I actually like some of the characters. Did you play the Caden story, the Kadan
Yeah,
Caden
I
storyline? Yeah,
played everything.
I thought some of that was actually pretty cool. Like there were a couple things that I was like, all right, it's grown on me a little bit. But I agree that the combat is absolutely the draw. It actually kind of reminds me a bit as far as the aesthetics and like sounds of combat. It reminds me a little bit of Diablo 3, how good combat felt when that game first came out, even though that game, in my opinion, was an absolute mess for a whole bunch of reasons. I think the reason it was stayed around and was successful is because combat felt so good. And I definitely think in this game, combat just feels fantastic. The Guardian raids, like it feels really fun to fight like a one-on-one boss, where Diablo was mostly like room clearing things like the chaos dungeons are in this game. But I
Mhm.
actually really like those Guardian raids where it's like it's kind of like Monster Hunter style, of course, but where it's like a bunch of players against one monster and like you're fighting it for a while, and impact on your skills feels good. The audio on skills feels really good. And something that's actually a little bit underrated, I feel like, is I think the music in this game is fantastic. I think it's like really good. And I didn't think that at the beginning. But I've been watching, and we'll get to some of the other like content creators and stuff too. But I've been watching Saint One a lot on Twitch, and I guess in the Korean version they got like a jukebox, for maybe it was part of like the second anniversary or some anniversary or something, but there's a jukebox that you can put in your stronghold where you can listen to a lot of the game's music. And he was showcasing some of the music, and I was like, damn, dude, some of this music is really good. And I've been like humming the tunes around the house and like whistling the tunes and stuff. I actually think the music is pretty good.
I can't re recall a single track.
Oh my
I'll just
God,
throw
are you
that out
kidding me?
there.
The
Yeah.
Punica music? You totally know the Punica town music.
I mean, if it'll show up, I don't off the top of my head. I know that the town portal scroll, the
Yeah, yeah,
TP.
the Song of
I know that
Valor
one.
and the
I
Stronghold
know
song and
those,
like
but
all
like I said,
those.
nothing, no songs pops out for me. I think it's just I don't
I
know.
think the best music, again, kind of from what I've heard from Saint, is the some of the Legion Guardian like the raids. They have like really good music, so I'm looking forward to more of the music. But I actually think the music's pretty good in this game. The overall aesthetic appearance, the UI, the UX design, like I think everything is really polished, feels really good. But that's also because we're playing a game that's been out for 2 or 3 years in Korea, and it's been polished enough, so we got a good version of the game, straight from the beginning. So
Hmm.
I think
And you're
that's all something to
and
say.
you're still hoping that we get caught up to Korean version eventually, right? I don't think that's gonna happen.
I don't know
I
that we'll get caught up. Actually, I take that back. I do actually think they're going to catch us up. And I think they may not have had that expectation when the game first released. But I think because the game has been so successful and other games have been doing these world first competitions for raiding, specifically Final Fantasy 14 and WoW have both had, these worldwide raid releases, and like all the streamers, all the content creators are doing the race for world firsts.
Hmm.
I think that with that becoming a thing, I do actually think it'd be smart for Smilegate to try and get us caught up to where they would release raids at the same time, so that we could do that world first excitement with the raiding.
I think they make too much money off right now to do that because people just buy crystals to catch up on eye levels, and it's just I don't think they're gonna do that for a while.
Yeah, but I think it's all about player retention, right? Like they're going to want to get us caught up, because the more caught up we are, I think the longer people will play the game for. I mean, I think we're already actually running into some player retention problems, because once people hit like where kind of you and I are at right now, you all you do is you sit there and you watch like the Korean version, like the Korean streams and Korean content. You're like, wow, I wish we had that in the game and we don't now. Like how, they're going to drip feed us content for how long? And, because
I
of the
mean, they're
whole honing
delaying the Vulcan
fiasco.
raid, so
What's that?
they're delaying the Vulcan raid. So I mean, it's gonna be
Yeah, but
pushed back
that's
even
kind of,
more.
I actually don't think that's a good thing, to be totally honest. I think the better way to go would have been to speed up people getting to the Vaulton content, as
I
opposed to
mean,
delaying the Vaulton content.
I agree. I think it's the community's divided on it, right? Because the whales don't want it because they spent so much money, blah blah
Right.
blah, and the other half is like, yes, please.
Yeah.
But
Um, yeah, we'll get into the honing thing in a second. I do want to say my biggest gripes, going back to my review of the game. So a lot of stuff that
yeah,
I like: combat, music, etc. Group play is fun in the raids, guardian raids. My biggest gripes right now actually are some of the systems feel so archaic as far as the collectibles go. My biggest gripes, I absolutely despise the rapport system for doing like the adventure tomes and like leveling up rapport. I mean, I absolutely hate it. And I
Mhm.
also absolutely hate the card system. I think it is so stupid. I think it is so poorly implemented. The sets don't make any sense. Why do we have cards? I think it's so poorly done, and it's so obviously whale bait for buying card packs and stuff. Now,
Yep.
something that I just found out a couple days ago is I guess there used to be a card game. Like you would collect the cards and play a card game, but
See, that'd
nobody
be
played
fun.
it. Nobody
Oh,
played it. Everybody hated it. I guess it was like the Ghent, like the Witcher
what?
Ghent card
Yeah.
game, but nobody
Mhm.
played it, so they got rid of the game. So I think
I mean, the same thing.
we're left with this old system that's kind of silly and doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. And I don't think it's. I just think the card system is kind of stupid in this game.
It is. Just also because like the best set in the game, you're never gonna get it.
That's what I
Like
mean. It's
it's gonna
like
take like 3 years to get it,
it,
even if you
it's
whale. I think because it's all RNG, right?
it's so
Everything
stupid.
about it is RNG.
The most hardcore Korean players, it took them like a year and a half to finish this set. That's what I'm saying. It's like there's no
And not
decent
even not even to
sets.
awakening, right? Not just to get the set,
There's
because you
no.
need 30 of them.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. There's no decent sets. There's basically two sets that are worth using, and then everything else is just complete trash, and there's no reason for it. I don't know.
mhm.
I think it's dumb. I think it's one of like the really dumb things in this game. So there are a few things that like really bother me now. Um, to hop straight into the honing discussion, then, because we were already talking about it. Um, Coming from Dungeon Fighter Online, where there was an even more brutal upgrade system, where when you failed upgrades, your equipment exploded. And the only way to prevent that was to buy tickets that were expensive, by the way, that when you failed, you didn't lose your equipment. So like I'm used to the Korean like low percentage upgrade system. Now, I thought that it was not too bad in tier one and tier two. I know you had some gripes even early on. I remember you sending me messages. You're like, I'm going to quit this game. I hate the honing system in tier two. And I was like, no, no, no. Like, it's going to be the kind of thing that you get through once and then it'll be okay. And then I got to tier three and I was like, no, this is like absolutely horrible. I mean, it's so bad in tier three specifically. And I think the biggest problem is that we just don't have enough ways to acquire materials right now. I don't mind the low percentage rates for succeeding, but the fact that like when you log in and you do like a couple chaos dungeons, you do a couple guardian raids, you do a couple daily quests, and then you fail like the two honing attempts that you could have, and you're like, okay, well, I guess I'm not doing anything in this game until tomorrow where I'll likely fail 2 more honing attempts. You know what I mean? It's like if you
Exactly.
got
Yes.
enough materials to where you could do 10, 15 honing attempts, it wouldn't be so bad if you were failing a bunch.
I failed three honing attempts at 50% today.
Yeah.
Uh, and then I rage bought some stones and I failed that one. And I'm like, I almost just quit the game right there. I'm like, oh, I'll F4.
Yeah, man,
I'll be done for the day. But
the worst for me was I think it was going from 11 to 12 in T3 where I pitied 5 out of 7 items in a row. Like in a span of 7 items, I pitied 5 of them. And I was like, I'm not even close to plus 15. And I'm like, I can't get anywhere. It was like a whole week where your item level like jumped over mine. And I'm sitting there like, I can't even do anything. Like it's so frustrating.
the worst, I think the worst thing about that, the whole holding system is like, content is gated by that item
Yeah.
level, right? You can't even do the most
Yeah, I know.
hardest fights until 1370. Um, and then I mean, what's she clear? I mean, well, yeah, it just gets gated. Like, and I can't do the phase two until 1985 or
Yeah.
1385, and it can't do 3 to 1400. Which who knows when I'll get that, right? I like the way Final Fantasy does it. They release all the raids at once, and you can do them all as long as you're good. As long as you do the skill level, as long as you
Yeah.
learn the fights, they're all released at once, right? So even if you're freshly start, you can just go in there and then do the hardest raids as when you get to the end game,
Which
and
which
all 4 of them.
Which, listen, I understand that this is not going to be like a permanent problem in this game. It really comes down to the fact that like the game released and it takes so many hours to get to where you and I are. And the fact that Korea did this over months and months of time, and we as in the NA global community, we're trying to do this in like a month to a month and a half. And we're just squeezing the systems that don't really exist yet. We're trying to like power level through these systems that just are not designed to let people really power level through them. So I think once the general player base gets to kind of where we are at, and a lot of people are sitting there waiting for the next content to arrive, I don't think we're going to run into problems where it's going to be like this Argos thing where Argos comes out and people are like, I can't even do the raid yet. Like I need more mats just to even get there. So I think this is actually a temporary problem, and I think it's going to get fixed, especially with like this week they're releasing more events and giving us more upgrade materials in the current the racing event to try and like ease some of that craziness of honing right now. So they've recognized it. You know, there's Lost Ark has come out and said like, hey, we kind of made a mistake here in releasing this content too early, and we understand everybody's frustrations. So we are going to try and get people caught up. I think that's a good move. I think that's a good decision by them.
But I don't think they're not changing the rates at all. Just giving us
No.
more mats, and it
Yeah.
just depends on that much. I mean, event is fine, but event only gives so much. Like the event, I think the racing event right now is pretty generous, but at the end of the day, it's maybe 2 attempts.
Yeah, but
Like
they're
you
going
buy out the
to
shop, you buy it's 2
so
attempts.
they've said they're going to add more mats to the current event on this week's patch, and they're adding a new event that will also give honing materials. So
It just depends how much they give
it
us, I
depends on how
guess.
much they give us. I totally agree with you. I actually am one of the few people that thinks that raising the honing rates actually would have been a mistake. The reason, so a lot of people are comparing it to the Korean version of the game, but people also are not considering that the Korean version of the game right now has 100% honing percentage in all of tier 1 and tier 2. So it's like it's a different game entirely. The fact that they have, higher honing
I mean,
rates
they
in
have to, right?
T3,
Because
it's
they're like,
like,
because there aren't their eye levels up to like 17, 18, 1900.
yeah, it's
You
basically
have
up to
to.
1600 is like the super cap for like mega whales. I mean, Saint 1 is like 610, and that's like one of the highest in the world, but basically 1600. So, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's like they have to have it there because in their version, the game doesn't even like start until 14 like 50 or something like that. And if they didn't have those rates, the new player experience would be just absolutely horrific. So, I think that keeping the rates the same but giving people
But
more
the thing,
materials is the right way to go about it.
I'm of the mindset that they learned their lesson and then they just didn't apply it to us. That's what I think. Because people hate it. I know a lot of people who quit just because of the running rates because they just don't want to get the they failed so much they're like I don't want to play anymore. Like a
Yeah,
lot of people.
yeah, but again, it's not so much the failing. specifically, it's the can't progress due to failing, right? Where if you get way more materials, that doesn't really become that much of an issue because yes, you'll fail a lot, but you'll be doing so many more attempts that it effectively won't matter. You'll be able to get through the content. But yeah, I mean, I agree. They had an issue. At least I feel like it's good that they're addressing things and they're vocal with the community and quick to implement, some sort of fixes. I think that's good.
Except for the timer one. That one pissed me off a lot.
Oh man, the timer that they patched twice and got it
Twice and it
wrong the
didn't work.
second time, which is just absolutely hilarious.
And they just stealth fixed it the other day. So I'm like, what?
Yeah.
That was
All
just
right.
weird.
So
But
let's get back to before we get too far down this road too. What classes have you played? And what classes do you want to try or future classes are you looking forward to?
so I am a gunslinger main. I use the time to hunt build because I just don't want to switch between three forms. So I just do the rifle and the pistol. I know it's like a small difference between the other builds, between the whole peacemaker build, which is all three. But I enjoy it. I like the big numbers. I've tried my paladin is 1050. I've been slowly working on him. I don't
Yeah.
even care that much. Paladin's fine. It's support. We don't no damage. And so tower has been a pain in the ass.
Oh man, tower on supports is just a nightmare.
And my second art is a like 500 Sork, which I have a lot of fun with actually.
Yeah.
I like. I just press the buttons to do all the damage. It's fun.
Yeah. So I am a Shadow Hunter main. And then I have a bunch of alts. I have a Berserker that's also in tier 3. That's Mayhem because that's like far and away the most fun to play because without Mayhem it's so slow that the class is just absolutely stupid. But with Mayhem it's really fun. And then my second highest alt is a Deathblade. And dude, I was messaging you the other day. I think you need to try Deathblade, specifically Surge Deathblade. It is so fun. It is a very high skill cap class. And once you like sort of get the rhythm of the way that it plays, it's super fun and it's super rewarding. And when you land that crit surge with like 20 stacks and you hit for like an absolutely crazy amount of damage, it's super rewarding. It feels really good. And then my next alt is a Striker. And I'm playing esoteric build, and what that means is that basically you get to use your special attacks more often, but they do less damage. But it's actually a pretty fun class. And then my last alt right now is a Bard, and she's in tier 2. Sorry, my Striker, my Deathblade, and my Bard are all in tier 2. And Bard, frankly, is absolutely awful to play. Like I cannot stand this class. I was like so ready to play a support class. And it just does not feel good to play. I think it's because players in tier 2 right now are so bad that when you try and go into like a Guardian raid, I'm just like watching people die all around me, and people are like using the wrong skills, and you like check engravings and gems, and like people are just like level 1 grudge and like no gems and no cards, and like dude, it's so painful to just sit there and be like, if I was on a DPS class, this guy would be dead already, and I'm just sitting here like wasting time. It's just it's terrible to play right now. Now, maybe I need to just build like a DPS spec for my Bard and just solo everything. But the whole reason I played a support class was to like actually play with other people and play a support. But man, I gotta say, Bard is no fun at all right now. Are there any other classes that you're looking forward to or that you want to try?
I eventually want to play Berserker because that class just looks fun.
It's so fun.
And I think it's a little bit too strong right now, but
I agree.
it's fine. I don't know any of the advanced classes from Korea yet, so I don't know. No other really classes. Maybe Deathblade in PvP because I've is it Deathblade or Shadowhunter, but one of the PvP they're really really good in PvP, which is I got soloed so hard by them.
So
like a really good one.
Deathblade is probably like the even better class in PvP, but Shadowhunter is also very strong in PvP. Actually, both of the assassin classes are very strong in both PvE and PvP. Yeah, I think you'd like Deathblade. I think it's really fun. I don't know that there's any current classes that I really want to play right now. I kind of want to try a sorceress out just because I think she's overpowered right now. and it's fun to play overpowered classes. Like you said, I think Berserker is really fun, but I also think Berserker is probably slightly overtuned. But I have looked at the kind of class roadmap from Korea, and there are a couple classes that I really want to play. And the first one is Scouter. So, Scouter is a male gunner class.
Mhm.
And it's basically like the Iron Man class. Like it's a transformation class in the same way that Shadowhunter is, where you go into you do like a transformation mode and you have a new move set.
Mhm.
And basically, the scouter basically goes from a gunner to like straight up Iron Man, and you like fly around the map and do Iron Man stuff, and it looks so awesome. And especially since I play Shadowhunter, I like the transformation class. I think Scouter looks really cool. And then there's also the other class I really am looking forward to is Lance Master, and it's a female fighter class. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It's like a dragoon from Final Fantasy 14. You're like you have a lance
Cool.
and you like run around and it looks super fun. And then there's a whole bunch of classes that I don't care about. I think Destroyer looks dumb. It's basically a berserker with a hammer instead of a sword.
I heard about
There is
Artist,
there
which is
is
not very good apparently.
Arcana or Arcanist, where you're like a sorceress but with cards and it's like randomized and stuff.
Mhm.
And then there's Summoner, which is like a sorceress but not as powerful and no burst
Mhm.
damage. I don't think that looks very fun. I'm probably missing some of the other classes, but oh yeah,
Artist, I
Reaper,
think,
Artist,
isn't
and
Artist not
Reaper.
the name? Mhm.
Yeah, Artist is like the new race or whatever with the bunny ears
Yeah.
or whatever. And I think Artist, I'm not interested in it, but I've heard it's a decent class at least for damage. And then I guess support, it's like not as good as the other supports, so nobody really plays it as support. And then I think the last one that I missed is Reaper, which is another assassin class, which maybe I'll check out, but I don't know. I already played two assassins, so I don't even know if I need to play any more assassins. But yeah, there are some classes on the horizon that I think look pretty cool.
I mean, how long until they get to the first new class? I know they said something in the word map about getting releasing them
Yeah,
faster.
nobody even knows what the first class is going to be. There was like that leaked roadmap. They accidentally leaked a roadmap for like 5 minutes, and a couple people got
Mhm.
screenshots of it. And then the community manager had to come out and be like, "Hey, we're adjusting this. This isn't finalized. We took it down because it's not ready yet." But the first class on that roadmap was going to be Destroyer. But man, I'm not even like looking forward to Destroyer, and I actually think it'd be smart for them to release more classes more quickly, just because since everyone's seen them in the Korean version and the Russian version already, there might be some players that are just sitting there like, well, that's going to be my main, and I don't want to progress in the game without having my main yet. You know what I mean? Like that kind of feels bad when you're like, well, I'm going to main, let's say, Scouter, so I guess I'll just collect mats, waiting for Scouter to show up, so that once it shows up, I can start maining it. I don't know. I kind of feel like the classes should be expedited. I think that'd be one of the things that'd be
I
worth
mean, classes
speeding up.
always bring excitement, right? So that's always a
Yeah.
good thing. I've noticed players have gone down a lot, so it would help like bring some life back into it. Um, yeah, I'm not really. I don't know. I don't. I didn't ever watch like Korean streams of this game. My friend Rose plays the Korean version. She was in my 14 raid group the
Mhm.
other a couple years ago. She's still having fun with it, so she likes the game, so I hope we get a lot of the fun stuff coming soon because there's nothing else to do right now. I log in, do my daily, do my chaos, do my guardian raids, and then I do an island or two,
Yeah.
and then what else can I do?
Yeah, there's
They,
basically that there's like the rifts and the world bosses and the
every,
islands. There,
every other day, every
yeah, I
three
mean,
days or
right.
something. Yeah.
There's some horizontal progression to do, but yeah, it does feel like if you don't like playing alts, like there's not a ton to do. If you do like playing alts, there's a ton of stuff to do, almost too much stuff. Um, but yeah, I'm looking forward to the patch on Thursday. I really hope that Smilegate and Amazon release some kind of a roadmap for the future here, because I think it would be good to know how much to prep and how to prep for future content. So I am hoping that we kind of get a look into the future a little bit so that we can plan mostly.
Yeah, I agree. Um, I'm looking at the event calendar. I mean, what you can do one. The thing is, you can only do one island a day, right? So I mean, you do once
Yeah,
and you're
the
done.
Adventure
And then
Islands.
there's
Yeah,
yeah. So like, sure, I already did my twisting at Chaos Gate. It's maybe 5 minutes of content, then you're
yeah,
done.
yeah. Yeah, no,
I
I
just need
agree.
to.
The only thing that I would say is like there is a ton of horizontal progression to do with all the collectibles. So, there is stuff to do, but it might not be the most exciting thing to do. Like you can collect all the Makoko seeds and you can go get the giant hearts and the omnium stars and the masterpieces and the sea bounties. Like,
But those are all report stuff and those and RNG stuff. It
yeah, I
just
know. I know. Yeah, I hear exactly what you're saying. I haven't done a ton of the collectible stuff because I think that the gameplay is really fun and the combat is fun. So I don't mind playing some alts and trying to do like the content that way. But yeah, I've started doing some of the Ignia tokens, and
good luck.
it's fine, but my problem
I have
with the
one
Ignia
Igna token.
tokens, my problem with the Ignia tokens is that I already said it's my least favorite system of the entire game, even more than the honing system. I think the rapport system is a travesty in this game. Like it is so stupid. It takes so long to level up your affinity. You don't yeah, I could go on and on about how poorly that system is designed, but I think it's also a an artifact of a game that's been out for a few years. Like if you were to slowly release new rapport over time, like they'd be fine because you'd hop in and you'd talk to the 4 or 5 people that you needed rapport with and you'd be done with it. But the fact that we have 13 contents right now of rapport and super limited gifts to give them, and you can't buy the gifts with anything but the blue crystals. It's like who? It's
Even with
such a
blue
dumb
crystals,
system.
there's a limit, right? There's a
Exactly.
daily limit
It,
or weekly limit.
yes.
So I mean,
I can't stand. I think it's so stupid, and it's prevented me from doing some of the horizontal content because so much of it is gated with the rapport system being so bad. But yeah, anyway,
mhm.
okay. How do you feel about the current endgame content? Do you like doing chaos dungeons? Do you not like doing them? Which like guardian raids are your favorite so far, and are there any that you absolutely can't stand?
um, chaos is fine. It's 5 minutes per day
Yeah,
per dungeon. It's fine. I don't like the two guardian raids. Maybe double the rewards and do it once a day kind
I
of thing.
completely agree with you. I completely agree.
Um, because it gets boring. You like just fight the same one over and over again, and sometimes it depends on the group too. I would make that one a day. The r- wait, so you're asking like how I feel about the content? I think the fights are too easy.
Yeah,
Because the hard mode of the fight is just more health,
yeah.
and they do a little more damage. That's it. That's the only difference between the normal and the hard mode for Areha. Uh, the Argos raid was laughably easy. There's like two mechanics: the light, the matching, and then the follow one.
Yeah.
Those are pretty much the only two mechanics.
I
So
agree that I thought, okay, I totally agree with you. Chaos is fine, it's whatever. And the fact that you can do infinite chaos to like get a few extra mats to sell, I think is actually kind of a cool thing. I don't understand why it's 2 guardian raids a day and not one that has double the resources because 98% of the time you're doing the same guardian twice in a row. Like there might be a rare case where you're like leveling an alt where you level your gear to where there's 2 guardians that you can do for the first time, so you could do 2 of them and get the bonus boxes or whatever. But yeah, I mean you're just doing the same guardian twice in a row on every character every day. It's like, why isn't this just one guardian with double the rewards? I don't understand. I agree. I think well, I'll say one more thing too. I think the abyssal dungeons are pretty fun actually. It's cool that that you don't have to do them daily. I like that it's like a week-long lockout. However, I think that they're too easy and too short to be something that you only do once a week. Like I think every single abyssal dungeon so far is like 2 bosses, and you
yeah.
walk in and it's like the
Sometimes there's
mechanics.
three.
You're right. You're right. Some of the tier 2 one, or I guess the tier 2 one, one of them had 3. But my point is still like there's basically 2 bosses that you run in. You absolutely stomp them because there's not that many mechanics. There's not that much stuff to learn. And then once you know them, it's just like, yeah, it's on farm for once a week. And then I will also say I echo your thought. I thought Argos was was a bit too easy for that being hyped up for being like even pre-release. It was like, well, like once you get to the tier 3 content and you fight Argos, that's where the end game starts. So I'm thinking
Right?
like, okay, cool. Like this is going to be like a difficult fight. And I walked in and I'm pretty sure we killed him on either the second or third attempt. And it was the first attempt for all 8 of us. It was like we had watched like one short YouTube video and like kind of learned the basic mechanics and then absolutely steamroll them on like our second or third attempt. And I was like, well, that was kind of a letdown here. And then, like you said before, for it to be the case that you could only do the first phase because we're locked by our gear score, it's like, what? Like, this is it?
Right.
This is it? Like, all this hype for for this fight?
Like, if they let us do damage instead of just blocking attacks, it'd be fine. Like, it'd be like a challenge, right?
Exactly. Let me go in under geared, but not, miss or have my attacks blocked and see if I can pull it off. Like, I agree. I would have liked to attempt the content under geared and have it be harder and more of a challenge. And then you could say like, listen, I cleared phase 2 of Argos or phase 3 of Argos, 30 or 40 or 50, item score lower than what was recommended. Yeah, I kind of agree with that.
Yeah, I agree. They should move more hard modes, like maybe a new Abyss at 1370 or something, because the ones we have are a joke, right?
Yeah, no, I agree. I thought it was too easy as well. The hard mode, the hardest boss in all, so
was the guy that swings.
It's the first one. Yeah,
it's the first one.
The first boss is the hardest.
The first boss of Arkesia I think is my hardest.
The turtle.
The one that's the fire crocodile guy.
With the ball where he goes in the 4 cardinal directions. The purple thing.
No, that one's not hard.
Oh
I
man,
I didn't even know there were mechanics. We just kind of killed them.
My group struggled on it because nobody but me knew that you had to like get grabbed. And so like I'm trying to explain to the group because we had a gun lancer who kept, if you taunt in the middle of the mechanic, he won't grab and you have to get grabbed in order, and then the stagger check in order to do the content. And so he kept taunting and I kept being like, listen, man, you can't just like face roll this one. You got to like actually do the mechanic. But that was just the party that I had. But I do agree. I think content's too easy so far. I know that's also a temporary problem because I have seen some of the Legion General raids and some of the Hell raids, and good Lord, those are too hard. Like those are like borderline.
Well,
it's like
I haven't seen
this
them,
is
so
insane. I mean, I've been watching again. Saint One is kind of one of the content creators I've been watching the most. He has been progressing on the latest Hell mode for like a month. There's 3 fights. He's cleared 2 of the fights only a handful of times, and he does it every day, 4 hours a day on stream. And it's like, you have to be absolutely perfect to get through this content. It is wildly difficult. But so, that's not here in our version right now. So yeah, I mean, we can complain about content being too easy because in our version of the game so far it is too easy. So I don't mind saying that. Okay. How pay to win is Lost Ark? How much money have you spent, and do you have a problem with the way that it is implemented? I mean, you've played like Genshin and you've played mobile games, War of the Visions, Final Fantasy Brave Exvius, which we both play. But you've played some mobile games, you've played some gacha games. You're familiar with sort of the Korean pay to win style game. So what are your thoughts on Lost Ark and it being pay to win?
Oh, it really is. The fact that you can just swipe card, get to 1370. I've seen people, streamers, like I think I've watched Rich, or I watched Shroud. Shroud spent so much money.
Oh my god, yeah, he has.
I also hate that there's 2 currencies, right?
Yeah.
The free one and the one. And if you want to buy gold, you have to buy the royal crystals, and then you can buy use the royal crystals to buy the blue crystals,
right.
And they're all just different. I just hate it. This is the fact that it exists. I think just makes people don't realize what they're doing when they're spending.
Yeah, that's fair. I think I remember there's a reason behind it, and I can't remember what it is exactly, but it's something to do with they don't want people to be able to sell blue crystals for real life money, because basically what you could do then is farm up your gold in game, turn it into blue crystals, and then sell blue crystals to other players and effectively like make money off of the game. So what they did was they made it so that the currencies can't exchange for each other.
Right? Because you can just straight up buy gold with the currency exchange system. So I guess they just wanted the profits.
They didn't want players to be the ones selling gold to other players. Yeah, exactly. They want to do it themselves.
And the fact that the skins come with the new currency, so I bought the skins, but you had to buy new currency for it. I had
Yeah.
like 20,000 blue crystals.
Yeah.
Because I thought there was gonna currency you're gonna use to buy the skins.
Yeah.
Because the old skins are you can buy with the blue crystals,
Yeah, that
right?
Alar set, yeah.
So when the new skins came out, you only buy it with the royal crystals. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I mean the way around that though, sort of, is that at least all of those skins can be sold on the auction house. I mean, on NA West, which is where we both play, right now I logged in earlier today and you can buy the Omen skin set for 5,000 gold. And like if you're at tier 3 farming tier 3 content, 5,000 gold is not very much gold. So the fact that you can
Wait, what? Really? I don't think that's true.
yeah, if you
Let me see.
pull up the auction house
Let
and
me.
look up Omen skin. And the set right now is selling earlier today for 5,007 gold for that Omen skin. And I was like, okay, well, I
Whole
guess I'm
set or just one piece?
the full set. So I was like, well, I'm never going to buy a set. I'm just going to wait for players to put them up and then buy them off the auction house because I just think that's makes so
Well, the
much
Dark
more
Omen
sense.
gun itself is 2,700.
Oh, maybe the
Wait, maybe
weapon and the skin box is separate, but even still, the skin box,
Do you know what it's called?
I think it's called Omen. If you just go into the auction house, you type Omen skin, I think it pops up the selection box or Omen skin selection box or something like that.
Dark Abyss Omen skin, right? That's what I
Well,
have
that's
right
one
now.
of the four.
Yeah, 5,500. That's just that's for the without. So it's like
Yeah,
7,500 gold.
right.
That's not
It's
much.
just not
So I'm
that
never
much
buying
gold.
crystals. Yeah, I'm never buying crystals again.
Right, exactly. And honestly, from what I've read from a few of the Korean players, is Smilegate punishes the whales in this game, which is actually kind of a good way to do it because here's kind of the way that I've been thinking about it. It's almost like the developers of the game are like, do you want to break the game? Okay, you can, but it's going to cost you an insane amount of money in order to do it, right? And I think that's actually the right way to go about doing it. It makes it so that because let's say it was the opposite way. Let's say that your money went a long way in the game. What does that mean? It means anybody who spends money is going to be so far ahead of the free-to-play players, which doesn't really work great in a free-to-play game. The ones that should be way far ahead of free-to-play players are the whales. Like light spenders should have advantages and a lot of cosmetic advantages, obviously like you can buy skins and stuff, but they shouldn't have like a competitive advantage unless they spend like an exorbitant amount of money. It sort of punishes people for spending, which is kind of the right way to go about it, I think, because as a developer, you're like, well, we don't want to give people a huge advantage. And if you want a huge advantage, it's going to cost you an insane amount of money to get that. I think it's actually kind of the right approach because I will say, as someone who, I mean, I'm not technically free to play, even though I haven't put any money in since literally the Founders Pack. As a free to play essential player, I don't feel like I'm way behind the curve. There are definitely players at 1,400 with, with 4 tier 3 engravings and like full level 7 gems. Like they definitely exist. There are the whale players that exist, but I also am like, I know I'll get there. It doesn't have to happen overnight, and there's no content hard enough right now for me to feel like, oh damn, I need to swipe and spend a bunch of money to go do this content. It's like once the honing material thing is fixed for getting through tier 3, I don't think it's going to be a huge issue for me. So I actually don't mind the way that Lost Ark does its pay to win stuff, because again, I've also played Dungeon Fighter Online where, dude, the difference between whales and non-whales and free-to-play players was like, it was unbelievable. I mean, it was to the point where if you were free to play, the game wasn't fun. Like you had to spend in order for the game to be fun. So coming from that, I think Lost Ark does a pretty fine job of handling it, honestly.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I just wish they get more mats because I don't want to have to do alts just to be able to advance the main.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair too. But I'll be honest, my alts, I have one alt in T3 and he doesn't give that many mats to my main. He really doesn't. Now I can, back when materials were selling for a lot more, I mean, the whole market has dropped probably because of bots, but before when the prices were high, I mean, it made a lot of sense to farm up a lot of mats on some alts, sell the materials, and then use that gold to buy more mats on your main. But that's going to be true in any game too, because having more alts and playing more should generate you more gold. So I think it's actually a pretty a pretty fair and a pretty balanced system
Yeah. So
overall.
I didn't come from Korean games. I came from Final Fantasy 14, and I just have all the characters and all my jobs in one character, which I
Yeah,
love.
yeah,
So I'm just used to playing my main character because I am attached to my main character. I'm not really attached to the other characters
that's
that I
fair.
have.
That's fair. Again, I played DFO, where DFO is even more alt friendly than Lost Ark. So like any person's roster, you're playing like 20 different characters in DFO. Like you play like every class and like you dress them all up because that's the end game, just like it is in Lost
Mhm.
Ark. But yeah, I don't mind playing some alts, and I think the combat is so fun and the classes feel different enough that I think it's actually really fun to play alts.
That's fair. I'm just not a never alt type of person.
Okay, so how much money have you spent, and how much money do you plan to spend in sort of like the near future and like the long-term future of the game?
I think I added it all up. It's about $600 since the
Okay.
start of the game.
That's pretty
I've
low for this game, I will say.
for
You know
this,
what I mean?
yes, I've seen people. I've seen people go crazy.
Yeah, Rich, Shroud, they're at like 20 grand. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. Once I hit 1370, I stopped buying gold
Yeah,
because I don't need to anymore, right?
right.
Because I've gotten all access to all the content now. That was pretty much why I spent it. I wanted to do the raids. I wanted
Yeah.
to do the hard mode because I felt I was bored. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie, I
No,
was
that's
bored.
fair. That's fair.
So and then once I got here, I don't feel like I need to spend more than 1385 because there's just one more phase of Argos. That's the only thing that's unlocked, right?
Right. Right.
So what's the point?
Yeah, no,
Um,
I agree.
so I'm good for now. I mean, I might. I love skins, so I always spend money on skins. I feel like companies would make so much money if they just release constant skins.
I think that's coming. See, the problem is, again, I'm coming from a game from DFO, which, again, has a lot of similarities with Lost Ark in a lot of ways. And one of the things that people complained about, because our version was behind the Korean version, was why don't you give us all the skins? The problem is it actually affects their bottom line. If they release a ton of skins, people don't buy a lot of them, and they actually have to kind of drip feed the skins, because then people are more likely to buy the skins. Because, for example, if they release 5 really cool skins at the same time, most players will only buy one of the 5, the one that they like the best. But if they sell all 5 not at the same time, players are more likely to buy each one of the skins as they get released.
That makes sense.
So it's
But I still would like more.
frustrating. Yeah, I know. I agree, especially again, because I've watched a lot of the Korean stuff from some of the content creators. There are so many cool skins that Lost Ark has that are coming soon that it's just like, God, dude, why are you doing this to us? Like, give us more skins, because every character kind of looks the same right now.
Yeah, everyone wearing the same skin right now
Yeah,
because it's the only
exactly.
skin available.
So
This Omen skin.
I'll say for me, again, I came into the game. Again, I'm not technically free to play because I bought the Platinum Founders Edition, because again, I also wanted to support the game. I will say that too.
Mm-hmm.
I specifically did not go free to play because I looked at this game and I was like, listen, I want the game to succeed. I want to support the developers. I will spend some money to basically help that along, pay the money to help it along. Now, after playing the game as much as I've played, seeing what the game is, I plan to be free to play permanently. I mean, I plan on not spending any money. I have a bunch of alts. I've gotten a little bit ahead, and I've started to generate some gold to where I feel like I don't need to spend to do basically most or all of the content right now. And since you can buy and sell skins on the auction house, I think pretty much everything that I need is there. And the fact that I can buy the what's it called, the crystalline aura with blue crystals, means that I don't feel there's a need for me to spend money to get that. Now, I will say, if that costed $10 a month like it does in Korea, where you can't use blue crystals, I would probably do that, again, just because it's a way of supporting the game, and I don't feel like it's super pay to win. I just feel like it's a lot of convenience stuff. So if they were charging for that, I would probably buy that. But since we can get that with blue crystals, which means gold, I'm pretty happy to just be free to play.
Okay, that's fair.
Okay. Do you see yourself playing this game long term? Because you've played Final Fantasy 14 for 8 years.
Since it came out, yeah.
Something like that, right? I played DFO for 10 years in its different iterations, but
I mean, maybe I don't log in every day because there's nothing to do, right?
Yeah.
For me in particular, because I'm not an alt type of person. Maybe I'll log in, let the rest bonus build up a little bit, and when new content comes, I'll do it. Just like in Final Fantasy, I haven't logged in for a while.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for the next patch,
Yeah.
which is next month. It's pretty fast, like 2 or 3 weeks. So that'll be brand new content with new Ultimate Fight, which I'll play more most of my time playing Final Fantasy, and then I'll still play Lost Ark. I'll probably log in every day, maybe just to do like the quick event. Like it only takes like an hour to do everything
Yeah.
in Lost Ark.
So okay, so it sounds like what you're saying is you do plan to play it long term, but not necessarily as hardcore as you've been going since launch.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. I kind of am looking at it in the same way. I really, really like the game. I can see myself playing it for a long time. A lot of the reason is because it reminds me so much of DFO. I really enjoy the game. I will play it for a long time, I think. But there's a couple caveats to that, and the main one being Amazon / Smilegate need to continue to deliver. I mean, they can't drop the ball here. Like, if they start making some huge mistakes, if they go too far into the pay to win, if the game is too broken, I mean, those are the kinds of things that would prevent me from playing the game. But the game itself, I think, is good enough that I'm going to see myself playing it for a long time. Obviously, I put a ton of hours into the game up to this point in the first 40 or so days because there was so much ground to cover before we got to the quote unquote end game that I felt like I needed to power game myself to get to that point. Now that I'm there, I don't feel like there's as much of a need to get quite as crazy, especially with the rest system, which by the way, I love. We should have mentioned that. The fact that you can play every 2 or 3 days and not feel like you're missing out too much with the rest system is pretty cool. I do like that too. But yeah, I can see myself playing this game kind of for a long time.
Yeah, it just depends on how fast they release content. Because I mean, what is there really to do besides log in every week? So every weekly reset, there's the dailies, and then the hard mode dungeons, and then the raid. I guess I'm just waiting for more content to do.
Yeah, that's fair. And I think that content's coming. There is so much collectible stuff to do that if you like that, there's definitely that to do. And then there's also leveling up other characters. But yeah, if you want to focus on just a main and you don't really care about all those collectibles, yeah, you basically have the Chaos Dungeons, the Guardian Raids every day, and then you have the 2 raids like once a week, and that's about it.
Yeah, my Adventure Tome's looking pretty good. I have 100% on the Wrath of Ramus, 90% on the other ones. Like I said, the only thing really holding me back from them is just rapport. It's impossible, literally impossible to do.
It's so stupid. It is absolutely so stupid. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I'm actually kind of enjoying it. I basically didn't do any of the Adventure Tome stuff, so I'm going back to it now. I think I have 3 Ignia tokens. I have the first 3 zones at 100%, but I basically blew all of my rapport items since release getting there. And now I'm like, oh, there's no way to speed this up now. Like, really, this is what it is. But anyway, I actually don't hate all of the islands because I like seeing new islands that I haven't been to yet. So some of that is actually kind of fun, and some of the sailing stuff is kind of fun. The ghost ships, like, that's kind of a cool thing. But again, you do it once.
It's a cool thing the first time you do it.
Yeah, you do it once, and then you're like, okay, well, I've seen it, and I can't do it for another week. So you're like, okay, well, that's weekly content that's come and gone. So you can't do it on multiple characters either. So you're like, okay, well, I guess that's that.
Are you a Makoko seed collector? Because I am not. I have 59.
So I basically reached Argos. Like, I got to 1370, and I had, I believe, 20 something Makoko seeds. And then since getting to basically Argos and doing Argos and going back and like doing the adventure tomes and stuff, I think I'm up to like 500 Makoko seeds. So basically the way I'm doing it is, I did not bother with any of the adventurers tomes because I knew I'm going to go back and do this later. So I started with the first zone, like the first Ignia token, and I 100%ed that. And in the process of doing that, I collected all the Makoko seeds because if you're running around those zones doing all of the other collectible stuff, you may as well, that's the time to get the Makoko seeds. So as I do the adventure tome, I'm going to do the Makoko seeds for those zones as I progress through them. So the Makoko seeds are silly. Like, there's nothing really that worthwhile from doing it.
Right.
But, you know, from a completionist perspective, like it's cool to say that you did it, I guess. So it's there, might as well collect it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Um,
so go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I'm good.
I was gonna say
I wish. Oh, also, have you run into the silver
no,
issue?
not yet, not yet.
Not yet. No.
But I'm
Yeah.
getting
Yeah. Okay.
close. That is
They
actually
make.
another, I gotta say, another one of my big gripes with the game right now is silver. I think it's a huge problem. It prevents you from doing a lot of things that you want to be doing, and I don't understand why it's there.
Why it's a bottleneck at all?
Yeah, why? Like what?
Gold. Make at least make gold because that's something you can
Yes,
farm. Silver. The exchange rate from gold to silver is ridiculous
I know
too.
it's so stupid. It is. It's terrible. And they say the best way to get silver is to do the low paying dailies. But the problem is if you're doing the low paying dailies, then you're not
Yeah.
doing other dailies.
Right.
The other dailies that you want to be doing on your main and even your alts. It's like, so I'm forced to do a daily that I don't even want to do just to get silver so that I can actually,
Yep.
it's silly.
I can't
I'm
roll
not a
my
huge
gems.
fan either.
I can't roll my cut my gem or can't roll my stones.
Yep,
It just blocks me from doing anything. Especially the
exactly.
gems. Gems are the worst part because like it's 60k per roll,
Yep,
and Gunslinger has 16 skills,
yep.
so it's even harder.
Dude, listen,
to
I
get.
totally agree. Imagine how bad it is for a shadow hunter because we basically have one gem that we need to have, and it's for when we transform. And it's like, so you're sitting there, you're not even rolling for like the 6 or 8 skills that that you use. You just sit there and roll for one skill, the one skill that you want, and you just burn through so much silver, and it's so dumb. It's so stupid. I can't stand it.
Mhm.
Okay, have you been watching any other content creators like YouTube videos, streams? Like, who do you like kind of in the scene? Who have you been watching or not really?
I like Rich because I first watched him play Final Fantasy when he was going through the whole Final Fantasy journey. That
Yeah.
was fun to watch. So
Yeah.
I watched him and I watched him play here, and I've stopped kind of watching his streams because he just plays Lost Ark now and he just wails
He
everything.
just wails so hard.
He's Omega whales.
Yeah, he really does.
Like, and he just plays adults, and I think he doesn't stream as much now anymore as well. I think he's kind of running out of stuff to do as well. I watched Asmon. He's always fun to
Dude,
watch.
man, his streams and it's so fun. It's so fun for
Hmm.
the game. I actually thought it was more fun to watch him though before he pushed for 1370. Since he pushed for
Where
1370,
where he just got all the mats from his
yeah, we just got
viewers.
everything from his viewers. It's like it's the same as whaling, and I don't enjoy necessarily watching the whales play. I like watching people play who are like trying to figure it out and do it themselves. I like Dat Mods is great, Stoops is great, Saint One I think is like probably the best streamer right now for the game. But yeah, I like Asmon too. Asmon's great, man.
Yeah, but I don't
He's good.
really watch the Lost Ark streams. I watch Asmon when he streams, but I don't watch. I don't like just watch Lost Ark streamers.
Yeah, that's
I
fair.
like Asmon because I like his personality. It's fun to watch.
Yeah, that's totally fair. I really do like Saint One, and I think it's because he has so much insight into the game and the future of the game because maybe you don't know this. He has or had the number one ranked sorceress in all of Korea. Like he had the highest gear score. He's cleared all of the hardest content in the entire game. I think he's no longer number one now that he's been playing the global version so much lately. But there was a time where he was like the absolute encyclopedia on everything Lost Ark because he had played it completely to the bleeding edge level. So
But he's also a self-proclaimed mega whale, right? In
he
Korean
isn't
version.
in the Korean version. He's well. It's funny actually. He says he used to say he was a whale, and I don't think he calls himself a whale anymore. Now that he's seen how much money people are spending on the global version, he's like, I spent that much money over 3 years, and I'm watching some of the streamers over here spend that much money in 1 month.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think he's great. Stoops is great because he's just got a great personality and he's pretty knowledgeable in the game. But then, yeah, I also like really watching Asmon too. All right, to finish it off here, the last question is going to be, who's your favorite waifu?
Ooh, that one's rough. Right now, I think it's Blackfang, and I have her
Blackfang.
full rapport.
Do you? You ever
Yeah.
to affection
I
level
almost
or
I
to
have
trusted
yeah.
level?
She doesn't have trusted, unfortunately. The only two people have affection. It's Sasha, which I'm at that level. I'm trying to get to trusted or
Okay.
affection.
Yeah, yeah.
And then there's Eolyn, which I don't care about. Which is the Vern Queen.
The queen. See, I'm the exact opposite.
I
I,
like Azena too. I like Azena.
like Aelin or whatever, however you pronounce it,
Eolyn, yeah.
Aelin. She's who I'm like pushing rapport on, and then I'll probably do Sasha, and it's just because there's like an incentive, like the fact that there's two NPCs that have like a tier higher than everyone else is like, well, I'll just work on those first because that's cool, and then like everybody else is like, I'll get to it when I get to it.
So yeah, I finished Sasha. I finished no, not finished Sasha. I'm trying to get the last level on Sasha, affection.
Yeah.
I've done Beatrice. I finished Beatrice. I finished Neria. Well, I guess Neria's just she's pretty easy. I
What?
finished
Which
Black
Neria? There's
Fang,
like 9 of them.
Pride Home, Pride Home.
Yeah.
The first one. And I did some other ones just for the courage and charisma potions,
Yeah.
like the Rayon's Ghost and other stuff like that.
I do
Just
need to
to get like
work.
emotes and stuff like that too.
I do need to work on Black Fang too. Actually, now that I think about it, because I'm trying to get the Astray as well. Like you have
I'm
to.
getting this stray in 2 days. I already bought the 300k pirate coins blueprint thing.
Yeah, that's
I have
awesome.
already finished her dailies. I have a relic Blackfang crew waiting as well.
Oh,
I
you're ready
bought
to
with
go.
with 4,000 sun coins.
Oh, you're ready to go. Yeah,
I'm ready to go.
that's awesome.
I have the ghost ship too already, so
Yeah,
which is pretty cool.
yeah. All right, cool.
I want one thing I want them to have is actually actual boat races with like obstacles and stuff. That'd be so fun. And you
They
can bring your own
do.
ship.
Have you done that? You haven't done that yet? Some
Boat
of
races.
well, part of the sailing
Maybe
co-op is like
that's not really a race. It's
yeah,
just like
I know.
it's not like a race.
Hit the
Oh,
objectives and
yeah.
you want to race like the way that the Arkesia race
Yeah, the Grand
circuit thing with
Prix.
the dinosaur.
Yeah.
Yeah, the dinosaurs, but with
But with
boats.
your own boat,
Dude, listen,
and
I
obstacles. That'd be so fun.
I completely agree with you. I think that would be really fun. I think that'd be really fun.
Yeah. That way your boat means something, right? The way you built your boat, the
Yeah.
crew you got.
Yeah.
Because right now it's just okay, you're faster, whatever.
Yeah.
And maybe you can survive a little bit longer in Ghost Water, which is the ghost ship. But right now, isn't really point in doing this. I like it because I just want a fast boat.
Yeah.
But I would like a use for it, like a competitive use for it.
I totally agree. The only use to have a fast boat right now is just traveling to the different islands quickly. But yeah, it'd be cool for if there was more of a reason to have a fast boat. I totally agree. Totally agree.
What else kind of events you're kind of hoping for?
I hope that there's more.
I'm doing the jellyfish right now, so I'm a little bit.
I hope there's more hard mode. Basically everything. Like I hope there's events to do like hell mode guardian raids, like really hard guardian raids, and I hope there's events for. I hope there's some PvP events because PvP is actually pretty fun. We didn't really talk about that much, but
Oh yeah.
I think we can talk about PvP more in the next episode because they will have released rank or season 1 of PvP. So I think you and I will both probably dive into it more by next time. So
do you do PvP weeklies?
Yeah, I do the weekly.
That's the only ones I do. I do both of them.
Yeah, I do the weekly just because it gives so many leap stones, and that's like the total bottleneck in T3 is leap stones. So anything that gives leap stones, you just like almost have to do.
I enjoy PvP.
I think it's fun.
I have an okay class. I have Gunslinger.
Yeah, I have an okay class too in Shadowhunter. I think it's part of the reason it's fun.
I actually do hate PvP on Paladin though. That was not fun. Because it's not very fun.
Yeah, I guess you just got to learn it because from what I've heard, Paladin is like one of the strongest classes in PvP overall.
Maybe in group PvP. No, I like team elimination.
PvP. Oh no, I'm talking group. Yeah. Okay.
I like elimination. Elimination's always been my favorite type of these games. Oh, my ship's about to blow up because I'm in the ghost water for jellyfish. Even with the Einberg, with the ghost ship. All right, I think I've killed enough jellyfish. I'm good.
Nice.
But yeah, I like the PvP. I think some classes are a little bit too strong compared to the others.
Yeah, I agree. I think Deathblade is too strong. That's probably the
Striker, Deathblade,
War Dancer.
War Dancer's okay.
War Dancer is insane. So good.
Artillerist or Gun Lancer, I hate them. One hit, you're 50% down.
Yeah.
And they get shield and they can hit you so easy with the machine gun thing, and then combo you 50%, and then they run away and wait for the thing.
All right. Well, I'm excited for next time. We'll dig. We'll jump more into PvP and talk a little bit more about that. So once season 1
Yeah.
comes out and we've both jumped into it, we'll talk a little more about that. So all right, we're coming to the end here of the podcast. Thank you, Kioma, for joining me here.
Mhm.
And where can people catch you? You stream Lost Ark, or do you stream something else?
I haven't streamed in a while, but I will stream War of the Visions, especially Final Fantasy 6 events coming out. I'm
Yeah,
so excited, so excited.
yeah.
Um,
You're
and then yeah, I do stream Lost Ark sometimes.
okay. And your Twitch
Not
handle there
recently.
is at the top of the screen, so people can
Yes,
see
that's correct. Koryu
at that
87.
Koryu
Yes.
87. Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my name is Cyrus. I stream over Twitch, Cyrus the Great 99, and I also my YouTube channel is Cyrus the Great. That's probably where you are watching this right now. Yeah, Ton, thank you for joining me. I'm excited. We will do this soon, and hopefully have this be kind of a regular podcast. This is really fun.
Yeah, that's for fun. Good.
All
Thanks
right,
for
man.
having me.
Take it easy. I'll see you next time.
I'll see you next time.
All right, later.